Welcome to the Wife Stories YouTube channel. New video every day, and don't forget to subscribe. Here we go.
I had a good time. Did you? I say it quietly, barely parting my lips, and the clink of the silverware is the only reply. We're at the dinner table. Me, my wife, our two kids. But it feels like I'm sitting alone in a hollow room, surrounded by ghostly shadows instead of family. My plate remains mostly untouched. Her plate is half finished. The kids sense the tension too. They pick at their food, looking down at their forks, wise enough not to ask questions. Silence wraps around us, dense and heavy, as though sound itself refuses to intrude. I can feel my pulse in my temples. It's the kind of silence that only grows heavier the more you try to escape it. It's the kind of silence that means something important is about to shatter. I take one bite of steamed vegetables, barely tasting them. My gaze flickers sideways to catch a glimpse of Hannah, my wife, the woman I'd loved for so many years. She shifts uncomfortably, adjusting her posture to sit straighter, adopting that careful, poised look she wears when she knows she's about to face an interrogation. Except I haven't asked anything out loud yet. There's a glimmer in her eyes I don't recognize, a hint of defiance, or maybe guilt. And then I notice her phone face down on the table, a bright pink case, a tiny reflection of the overhead light shimmering on the back. My stomach clenches. I remember how she used to flip her phone face up all the time, never caring who messaged her. Now, it's face down in some silent standoff, and that says more than words could. The hush is suffocating. I wait a moment longer, letting the tension coil. Finally, I stand, push my chair back with more force than intended, and mumble something about having too much work to do. I leave the table without looking back at her, ignoring the confusion in my kids' voices when they say, "Dad." I just keep walking, because if I stop, I might explode. Because if I try to speak now, I might give away everything that's boiling inside me. Upstairs in the bedroom, I close the door behind me. I can still hear the low murmur of voices downstairs. Hannah saying something to the kids, probably telling them everything is fine. But it's not fine. Nothing is fine. My chest feels tight, as if the air's been sucked out of the room. I sink onto the edge of the bed, clenching my fists. My breath comes in short bursts, a half-suppressed anger vibrating in my lungs. I'd suspected something for weeks, that sense of unease creeping through my gut. She'd been distant, but in a new way, both hot and cold, pushing me away then pulling me back with sweet words about needing space or finding herself. I chalked it up to normal ups and downs of marriage. We all get older, a little bored, maybe we start drifting. But there was a bigger truth lurking, one I refused to see clearly until my friends sent me that link. The dating profile. A hot wife seeking adventure, was it? I didn't even know how to process the phrase. At first I thought it had to be a parody, a scam, something that used stolen photos. But there was that picture of her wearing that damn straw hat, one I'd bought for her on a weekend trip to Maine. She'd looked so carefree on the shore, telling me how much she loved me for picking it out, how it made her feel like a star. That memory used to warm my heart. Now it leaves me feeling nauseous. The betrayal is more than just physical. It's the sense that everything I knew about her, everything I believed about us, was a lie. I press my palms to my eyes, trying to push away the image of that dating profile. It's seared into my mind. Her bright smile. The casual mention of being married but looking for excitement, like it's no big deal to tear open our life and spit on the vows we made. I told her about it a few days ago, how I found that site, demanded an explanation. She acted outraged, offended that I'd even suggest it was hers. Then she switched to saying it was some joke her friend played. Then she tried to turn it on me, accusing me of not giving her enough attention, enough freedom. Something about me smothering her. The final stage was silence. She just shut down. No apologies, no confessions. Just an empty stare. I keep replaying that moment in my head. My heart hammers. The next wave is shame. Shame that I'm not strong enough to confront her straight on, that I let her manipulate the narrative, that I feel powerless. I've worked hard all my life, tried to be a good provider, a stable father, a loving husband. And somehow, this is where we've ended up. Downstairs, the front door closes softly. Footsteps ascend the stairs. She's coming. I straighten my back, forcing a deep breath, forcing calm. My mind is a storm, but I try to appear collected, even though my nails dig crescents into my palms. When she enters, I see how her posture has changed. She's got the chin lifted, her expression carefully set into neutrality. My wife, once so warm and spontaneous, now an actress performing detachment. "Andrew," she says, voice taut, "you walked off in the middle of dinner." I say nothing, staring at a spot on the wall behind her shoulder. Her words drip with forced concern, but I can taste the challenge in them. She's calling me out. She closes the door behind her and steps closer. I can smell her perfume. Floral, expensive. It's the same perfume she used to dab on her wrists when we had date nights, back in simpler times. Now it stings my nostrils, reminding me that she might be wearing it for someone else. She tries again. "Do you want to talk about what's wrong?" A dry laugh escapes me. "Now you want to talk." She folds her arms across her chest, maintaining that unreadable front. I notice her phone is still in her hand, locked screen. Face down. Always face down. "I'm trying," she says, measured. "But you walked away because I couldn't breathe." My voice shakes a little with suppressed anger. Sitting there, pretending everything's normal. "I don't know how you do it." She half rolls her eyes. "Don't start again with that website. I told you." "Enough," I cut her off. "Just stop lying." Her jaw tightens. I can see a flicker of something in her eyes, maybe fear, maybe resentment. She looks away, then squares her shoulders. "You've been different lately," she says, her tone more accusatory. "All paranoid, checking my phone, asking me where I'm going, who I'm meeting. Are you truly blaming me?" I demand. My voice climbs, a sudden flash of the anger I've held back for days. "You put up your pictures. You wrote those words. And I'm the paranoid one." She steps back, pressing her lips into a thin line. This conversation is going nowhere. Then she storms out, and I'm left alone, feeling both triumphant, that I didn't cave, and defeated, that I couldn't make her tell me the truth. My heart hammers so hard that my arms feel cold, numb. I remind myself, don't break anything. Don't do anything you'll regret. She's the one who did this. She's the one who tore our family apart. I know she's going to meet him tonight. She thinks I don't suspect, but I've seen the signs. Subtle things, her eyes darting to the clock near bedtime. That anxious energy in her movements as she claims she's got a friend to visit. I decide to confirm it once and for all. I wait until after midnight. The house is dark except for the faint glow from our bedroom. I hear her rummaging in the bathroom, possibly freshening up, the water running. I pretend I'm asleep, but every nerve is on edge. I lie there, eyes closed, breath steady, listening. She steps softly into the bedroom. I hear the rustle of a drawer. Another moment, and she's slipping into the hallway. A minute later, the faint click of the front door as she leaves. My entire body shakes with a burst of adrenaline. This is it. She's actually going to meet him. I jump out of bed, throw on a jacket, and rush to the window in the kids' room. The streetlight gives me just enough illumination to see her get into her car and drive off. I glance at the sleeping forms of my children, their small bodies curled in blankets, so innocent. A wave of protective fury surges through me. My kids, my reason for living. And she's out chasing some fling in the dark. I hurry outside, get into my own car, staying far behind her. This is insane. I feel like a detective tailing a suspect. Headlights off, a few cars behind, I follow her across town. The anger is building, but so is an odd sense of heartbreak. This is real. It's not just an online fantasy. She's physically going to him. She eventually pulls into a quiet neighborhood filled with condos. I see her park, then head up some outdoor stairs. A man emerges from one of the doors. Taller than me, broad-shouldered, wearing casual jeans and a t-shirt. They greet each other with easy familiarity, his arm slipping around her waist, her hand resting on his chest. My breath catches. There's an intimacy there that stabs me right in the gut. I force myself out of the car. My mind is screaming at me not to do something reckless, not to cause a scene or get the cops called. But I can't stay away. I must know the truth, must see it with my own eyes, no matter how it destroys me. I step closer, keeping to the shadows. The door to his condo is slightly ajar, the living room light still on. My heart's pounding so loudly I'm sure they'll hear it. I move carefully, quietly, cursing every crunch of gravel under my shoes. Then I hear it. Soft laughter. Hers. That laughter I used to cherish. Peering through a narrow gap, I see them. He's got his arms around her waist, pulling her close. She's smiling up at him, and her lips part in a breathy, half-teasing giggle. My stomach twists. Their voices are low, intimate. I catch something like, "I've missed you," he murmurs, leaning in. Her reply is muffled, but I see her tilt her head, exposing her neck. He kisses her there, and she arches her back, pressing against him like she never did with me anymore. My eyes burn as if I'm inhaling acid. I want to turn away, but I'm rooted to the spot. This is the final blow, the undeniable proof. She says something about how he's probably asleep, meaning me, I guess. They laugh together, and he leads her deeper into the condo. I move along the wall, fighting conflicting urges, to barge in there screaming or to run away. Through another window, the blinds are partly open, and I see them in the bedroom. The edges of my vision blur with rage and humiliation. He's still kissing her, and she's responding with a hunger that rips my heart in two. Her fingers slide up his chest, wrapping around his neck, pulling him closer. He lifts the hem of her shirt, his hand skimming her waist. I see the slight trembling in her body, the way she leans in, lips parted. I see my wife with a man who's not me, fully giving herself to him in that intimate, unrestrained way we once shared. The sight is seared into me. Her sigh, her half-lidded eyes. I watch his hand explore her skin. She glances toward the window for the briefest second, and I jerk back, flattening myself against the wall, heart hammering. It's the most raw, gut-wrenching thing I've ever experienced, feeling like an intruder in my own life. I want to smash the window, scream curses, demand my dignity back. But something in me shuts down, like a fuse blowing. The anger is so huge it becomes a weird, muffled numbness. I exhale slowly, tears stinging the corners of my eyes. This is real. There's no more denying it. I slip away, creeping back to my car. My hand shakes so violently I can hardly fit the key in the ignition. Once I manage to start the engine, I just sit there for a moment, mind blank, breathing in shallow bursts. The windows fog with my breath. I feel 1,000 different emotions. A craving to do violence, a sense of pitiful heartbreak, a nauseating wave of shame, and a twisted longing because, God help me, I still love her. In the end, I drive home in silence, swallow the bitterness, and slip into bed. I stare at the ceiling for hours. She doesn't come back before dawn. When she does return in the early morning, I pretend I'm asleep. I can hear her footsteps on the stairs, the bathroom door quietly closing, water running. She's trying so hard not to wake me. But I'm wide awake, my heart a stone in my chest. That night, after the kids go to bed, I confront her. We're in the living room. The lights dimmed, the only illumination from a small lamp by the sofa. She sits across from me, arms folded, face a mask of obstinance. I tell her what I saw. I describe how I followed her, watched her go inside that condo. My voice trembles with rage as I recount the details, how they touched, how they kissed, how she gave herself over so completely. It feels like I'm physically tasting bile. She starts out denying, but there's too much evidence. Finally, her face flushes in anger. "This is your fault," she spits out, eyes flashing. "I've been miserable. You never pay attention to me. You're always at work. You have no idea what I've needed." She doesn't even apologize. She tries to shift the blame. I feel hot tears building behind my lids, but I don't let them fall. I want to keep my composure, though inside I'm screaming. "If I wasn't giving you enough, why didn't you tell me?" I demand, voice low. "Why not talk to me? Go to counseling. Anything but this." She shrugs, her lips twisting. "I tried. You never listened. And, well, Jason gave me what I wanted." "Jason," I repeat, forcing the name out like it's a bitter pill on my tongue. "You said once you'd never do something like this. You swore you believed in marriage vows. Now you're seeing him behind my back, humiliating me." She huffs a humorless laugh. "You humiliated yourself by living in denial." I grip the arms of the chair, nails biting into the upholstery. I want to lash out, but a part of me just collapses inside. This is the woman I married, the mother of my children, and she speaks to me like I'm some unwanted piece of furniture cluttering her life. My shoulders slump. "I don't even know you anymore," I say finally, my voice cracking. "But I still love you, Anna. Even now, with everything you've done, I don't know how to stop." She stares at me, eyes narrowed, something cold there. No tenderness, no sorrow, just annoyance. "Well," she says, "maybe that's your problem." And just like that, she rises and walks out of the room. It's almost anticlimactic. She leaves me drowning in heartbreak, a knot of pain in my gut so heavy I can barely breathe. After that, the days blur. She keeps living in the same house, going through motions, but now the tension is open raw. We barely speak except for logistical matters about the kids. She sleeps in the guest room, or she doesn't come home. I exist in a fog, going to work in a daze, pretending everything's okay, while my mind replays that bedroom scene. My friends ask me what's wrong, but I can't muster the words. The children notice something is off too. My older one, Lizzie, has started hearing rumors at school. Some parent apparently recognized Hannah's profile, or maybe saw Hannah around town. Kids can be cruel. They teased Lizzie. "Your mom's a cheater. Your mom's hooking up with some dude from Tinder." My daughter came home in tears. I wanted to die from shame. My son is younger, less aware of specifics, but he still picks up on the anxiety swirling around. It kills me, absolutely kills me, to see their confusion. One night, I open my laptop in the dark and begin writing a letter to my younger self, the wide-eyed 20-year-old who fell in love with Hannah, who believed in forever. I pour out all my regrets onto the screen, imagining I could warn him. "Don't marry her. Don't have kids with someone who'd betray you. Don't buy that damned hat on the main shore. It's twisted, but it feels like the only way to release the poison from my system." As the days pass, I come to a decision. There's no saving this marriage. She doesn't care anymore. That's obvious. I feel humiliated at every turn. The question is, how do I protect my children from the fallout? They're the only people I truly love now, and I can't let them drown in the gossip or become casualties of her behavior. So, one evening, while Hannah is out again, God knows where, but I have a good guess, I gather the important documents: passports, birth certificates, financial statements. I pack them neatly. I withdraw what I can from our accounts, freezing the rest. Legally, I don't know how it'll all shake out, but for now, I'm removing her access. She wants to be free of me. Fine, but I refuse to let her drag me through the mud and pick my pocket at the same time. We leave in the middle of the night. Me, Lizzie, my son Roddy, slipping out like fugitives. It's surreal. I tell them we're going on a new adventure, that I've found a different city with a better school. They look frightened, but I put on a brave face. The shame and heartbreak swirl inside me, but I swallow them down for the sake of my kids. I drive through the night, the headlights slicing open the darkness, the kids dozing in the backseat. Every mile feels like a step further from the life I'd once had, from the illusions I'd once believed in. My chest aches with a strange mixture of sorrow and relief. I'm done being the pathetic husband who just endures. Now, it's about survival, about preserving what's left of my dignity, and giving my kids a fresh start. We settle in a modest new place, far enough that no one will recognize us. I enroll the kids in a local school, explaining in vague terms that we needed a change. The first day I drop them off, I can hardly breathe, praying no one asks about Mom. They don't. Small mercies. I quit my old job, but I have enough savings to keep us afloat while I look for something local. The house we left behind stands empty, a shell of memories. I left a single note, a letter to myself. Actually, I placed it on the kitchen table with no explanation. If Hannah ever finds it, let it be a mirror of what she's done. I doubt she'll even cry. Days stretch on. The kids adapt quickly, which is a blessing. They miss their mother, of course. But they've also seen enough tension at home to sense that she's not the same. And she doesn't call, doesn't text, not once. That realization stings worse than anything else. It tells me how little I mattered to her in the end. Word reaches me through a mutual friend that Hannah's telling people she kicked me out. That she's reclaiming her life, and I was just too boring, too controlling. Let her say whatever she wants. The kids know the truth. I know the truth, and that's enough for me. But I can't pretend I'm not hurt. I am. The old habit of love doesn't vanish overnight. I'll catch myself half wishing she would call, that she'd say she's sorry, that she made a mistake. Then I hate myself for being so weak, because what's done is done. She betrayed me so thoroughly, in the most humiliating way. I saw it with my own eyes. Yet there's a corner of my heart that still loves her. It's irrational, but real. Memories of the early days, our first road trip to Maine. How she laughed when the wind blew her hair all over her face. The look in her eyes when she told me she was pregnant with Lizzie. Those memories haunt me. Even now, it's hard to reconcile that Hannah with the woman who lied and cheated without remorse. Weeks pass. I focus on routine, cooking meals for the kids, helping with homework, applying for jobs. For a moment, I almost believe I can bury my rage under the mundane tasks of daily life. But some nights, it all resurfaces like a volcano. I wake up in the small hours, drenched in sweat, chest pounding, teeth clenched in fury at the memory of her in that man's arms. It's about a month later that I receive a letter in the mail. No return address, but postmarked from my old city. I open it carefully. Inside is just a single page, typed with a few lines. Andrew, I guess you decided to leave. I'm sure you think you're teaching me a lesson, but you never understood what I wanted. If you ever decide to talk like adults, call me. Hannah. I read it 3 times. No apology, no remorse, just some vague scolding, as if I'm a child who ran away from home. My throat burns with fresh anger. She's living in that house, presumably with her new man, or at least seeing him. She's told everyone I'm the villain, yet she has the nerve to claim I didn't understand her. I laugh bitterly, then tear the letter up. In the following days, a quiet determination settles over me. This is my life now. I'm a father to 2 wonderful kids, and we're building something new. She can keep the empty house and the memories we made in it. Maybe she'll notice I left my old baseball cap on the coat rack, the one I used to wear when we'd barbecue. Maybe she'll notice the straw hat hanging from its peg, the one she once loved, the one in her scandalous profile photo. I wonder if seeing it triggers any kind of sadness. Probably not. There are times I question myself. Should I have fought harder? Should I have screamed at Jason, demanded a confrontation, forced her to choose in some dramatic showdown? But that's not me. I don't want to degrade myself further, or risk the kids seeing something horrific. My revenge, if you can call it that, is disappearing from her life without letting her manipulate me again. Time moves forward. I find a new job as a financial consultant for a smaller firm. My boss is an easygoing guy who respects work-life balance. The kids thrive in their new school, less harassment, new friends, a sense of normalcy. I realize that for the first time in months, I feel a semblance of peace. And then, late one evening, just when the kids are asleep and I'm finalizing a report for work, my phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. "Hey, where did you go? The house is so empty. You can't just vanish. This is Hannah, in case you deleted me." My hand tightens around the phone. I feel that familiar swirl of anger and heartbreak. She actually thinks she can reel me back with a line or two. She's probably grown bored with Jason, or realized I was the one covering the bills. Whatever her reason, I don't respond. I let the message fester in the silence. A minute later, another text. "Are you going to freeze me out forever? Is that the kind of man you are?" I breathe slowly, fighting the urge to send an onslaught of vicious words. Instead, I power off the phone. I can't do this, not tonight. Her betrayal is burned into my mind like a brand. Later, I lie awake in bed, thinking. A swirl of memories plays in my head. That first summer date by the beach in Maine, where she wore the straw hat and teased me about my old baseball cap. The night we danced in the living room, celebrating my promotion. The day we brought Lizzie home from the hospital, terrified and thrilled as new parents. Then the final memory intrudes, the image of her in that man's condo, lips on his, her body arching against him. My chest tightens and tears threaten. I write a few more paragraphs to my younger self, telling him about heartbreak, about illusions that crumble, warning him that sometimes the person you love becomes a stranger. I reassure that younger version of me that there is life after betrayal, but it's painful as hell. The next morning, I wake up groggy. I check my phone. No new messages from Hannah. Good. And drag myself out of bed. I fix breakfast for the kids. My shoulders feel stiff, but I greet them with a smile. They need my stability now more than ever. Then, as the kids get ready for school, I open my email. There's one from a close friend who stayed behind in our old town. He writes that Hannah has been telling mutual acquaintances a story about how she decided to end the marriage, how she realized she'd outgrown me. He says people are skeptical because she's not exactly shedding tears. She's going out, acting carefree. Some folks see through it. Some might believe her. I close the email with a numb feeling. I expected this. Let her rewrite the narrative any way she wants. We go on living. A few more weeks pass, then a month. It surprises me how quickly the numbness can become a new normal. The kids and I find a routine. I start focusing on my own health, going for a run in the mornings. I slowly get used to cooking every day, making sure the laundry is done. Sometimes I see pity in people's eyes when they learn I'm a single father, but I only need their pity so far as it gets me a decent conversation or a bit of support. And in that quiet, day by day, my wounds start to scar over. The raw hurt recedes enough that I can function. I still get nightmares sometimes, but they're less frequent. One late afternoon, I'm driving home from picking up the kids at school when I realize I haven't thought about Hannah all day. The realization startles me, as though I've momentarily forgotten something crucial. But it also feels like progress. The kids chatter in the backseat about a group project at school, an upcoming talent show. My heart warms at their excitement. This is what life is now, moving forward. That night, after the kids are asleep, I open my laptop to continue the letter to my younger self. But instead, I find myself writing a new letter, this time to Hannah, though I won't send it. It's more to purge my thoughts, to find closure. I tell her about my regrets, about the pain she caused, about how I once loved her more than anything. I admit I still love the memory of who she was, but that woman no longer exists. I remind her of the vow she broke, and how I'll never forget that night at Jason's place. It's part confession, part condemnation, part farewell. When I finish, I realize my hands are trembling, but there's an odd sense of relief, like lancing a wound. I save the document, close the laptop, and stare at the blank wall for a while. The old me died in the flames of her betrayal, but maybe something new is rising from the ashes. Maybe I'm stronger now, in ways I never anticipated. I've learned that love can be twisted, that trust can be shattered in an instant, but there's a resilience in me I didn't know I had. I can raise my kids without crumbling. I can start over in a new city. I can handle the hateful gossip and rumors. And I can keep going, day after day, because life doesn't stop for heartbreak. Eventually, maybe I'll meet someone else, though I can't even think about that seriously right now. The scars are too fresh, but I won't close myself off forever. There's a quiet part of me that refuses to let her actions define my entire future. I recall the final image of our old house, dark and empty, the hallway so silent you could hear a pin drop, that straw hat hanging on the hook. I can almost see Hannah standing there, not a tear in her eye, not a single word of regret. That's who she is. That's who she chose to be, and this is who I choose to be. A father who picks up the pieces, who does whatever it takes to give his kids a chance at happiness. A man who won't settle for living in a lie. It's not the life I dreamed of, but it's the life I have now. And maybe in time, it's a life I can appreciate, even if I learn the hardest way that trust is fragile, that love can be betrayed, and that betrayal can burn everything to the ground. Still, somewhere deep inside me, I can't extinguish the ember of love I once felt. Even after the heartbreak, after the anger, after all the nights when I punched my pillow or shouted into the shower's steam. Part of me remembers the Hannah who giggled at my corny jokes, who glowed when she was pregnant, who told me I was her rock. That memory lingers in the corners of my mind, fueling a strange mix of sorrow and tenderness. But that Hannah is gone, so I'll stand by what I wrote to my younger self. Don't buy that hat. Don't let her slip that ring on your finger without listening to your instincts. But I can't change the past. I can only shape the future. For the sake of my kids and my own sanity, I'll keep moving forward, one day at a time. In the end, I suppose this is my final act of defiance, living better, living on my own terms, refusing to be the pathetic man she turned me into. That's my vengeance, if you want to call it that. Not violence, not a scandalous showdown, but simple erasure of her power over me. I vanish, leave her with her illusions, while I protect the only people that matter. I don't know if I'll ever speak to her again, but if she comes looking, she won't find me. She can't have my respect, or my forgiveness. She made her choice. She betrayed me. She walked out long before I physically left. Maybe one day she'll wonder what she lost. Maybe she'll search her memory for the man who loved her unconditionally. Maybe she'll regret letting me go, or maybe she won't. Either way, I'll keep this path. A path free of her lies, a path that might be lonely at times, but at least it's honest. So, Hannah, if you ever read these words, if you ever realize what you've done, you'll know why I disappeared, and why I took the kids with me. I won't ask for your tears, and I won't believe them if they come. If you find the letter on the kitchen table, read every line. Let the words sink in. Know that I once loved you with everything I had, and you threw it away for a moment's thrill. But most of all, know that I'm free now. This is my final goodbye. And despite everything, despite the rage and heartbreak, I hope one day you'll look at that straw hat in our empty hallway and remember how it felt when we were happy. For me, that's just a memory of a dream. For you, I don't know. Maybe it'll haunt you. Me? I'll drive on. The kids in the back seat, the open road ahead. And in the quiet hum of the engine, the faint shuffle of the children's voices, I'll find my peace. That's all there is.